I know that a lot of Asian men and Black women have talked about their identities when it comes to dating and articulating their thoughts about what it'd be like to date somebody from a different background. Because I think that there are a different set of expectations that I feel for a lot of Black women when it comes to dating and a lot of Asian
Hmm.
men when it comes to dating. And there
Hmm.
are a lot of stereotypes that are associated with our two communities that, although they're very different, they're sort of similar in the sense that
Yeah.
we have always been seen, and oftentimes we feel that we are on this, bottom rung of the totem
Hmm.
pole.
Hmm.
And so we latch on to a lot of these stories that sort of recontextualize us in a world where we aren't pigeonholed and that we can be this adventurer and this
Hmm.
this larger than life figure. What do you think it says about Asian men and Black women that we are constantly, like it seems like a lot of us are still confused and still trying to figure out our footing in the world and our
Hmm.
place, and still trying to reconcile with our identity. Um, for you, being that you've been writing for so long, is this something that you still struggle with? Or are you still trying to figure out yourself and your place, and or is this something?
So, yeah, this is something that is of great frustration to me. Um, so, again, growing up in a university town, yes, I grew up with everyone. My best girlfriend, she's of Japanese descent. She grew up, she was born here, but her parents were Japanese. And I didn't know she was even going through some of this stuff she was going through,
Mhm.
because me being Black, I was like, well, you're closer to being white, you know what I'm saying? But in a way, that also made her feel more separate. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're that close, for the lack of a better word,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
almost like miles apart. And I hate to say this, I'm going to say some politically incorrect stuff, I don't care, but there's too much white worship. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't get it, and again, maybe that's because I grew up in a diverse community, so I know for a fact that everybody's just as freaking idiotic as the next person,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But I think that is a fundamental issue. I'm going to tell you the truth. And you know, and stereotypes have taken place, and that has affected the dynamic between different ethnicities, especially ethnicities that are non-white. Okay.
Definitely.
And with Black men, there is a higher number of Black men who date outside of their race. And then, as we all know, in the Asian community,
Mhm.
there is a much, much higher number of Asian females who date outside of their ethnicity, right?
Mhm.
And so as a result, you see a lot of Black females who are like, oh, okay, right?
Mhm.
You see a lot of Asian males kind of in that same situation,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
I'm going to be blunt. I do think that compared to when I was younger, um, where there was a bit more camaraderie, I think, with Asians and Blacks and these communities, because there was maybe I don't know what the reason was, but that was my experience. Now I think the need to kind of feel more acceptance and say, okay, I'm more in the white world
Mhm.
has made a difference in the Asian community. Because believe it or not, like in New York, like years and years ago, there was a ton of Asian men who immigrated here, and they immediately married Black women. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because yeah, there was like there was a book. I need to research that book and put it on my website. But there was like a huge number of Asian men and Black women who got married. In the university towns of my aunt's generation, there was a huge number of Middle Eastern men and Black women who got married. But when things kind of open up and whites kind of opened up things a little bit more with non-white communities, there seems to be a scramble to kind of assimilate with the white communities.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I mean, that's fine because we all need to assimilate with one another. But I think there is a situation where we're kind of throwing each other under the bus
Oh yeah.
to
Oh
do
yeah.
that, and that that is a major issue. I don't. First of all, I don't feel that's how you're going to get respect from this community that you're trying to get respect from. I just think that's silly,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
that also weakens our communities and our causes, when we do that. So marriage is an institution. um, it is an institution. I mean, yes, you fall in love and all that stuff, but the marriage in itself is an institution. And I think the institutions are weakening if we do not, um, you know, promote one another and support one another in that way. And as far as Black women and Asian men, I'm just like, listen, y'all, there's plenty of extremely attractive people,
Hmm.
that could get together, and it just makes sense where you have a lot in common. Um, and I don't understand why that has not taken place at a greater ratio than what it is. I do think it is actually picking up, but it isn't the norm right now.